Welcome back to another episode of the Slice Tennis Podcast. The headlines are flying from Wimbledon. So Steven and I are going to address it all. And yes, this podcast is presented by Betway. Another great thing about this podcast is in about 30 minutes from now, in video time, we will be tossing this to an interview with Carson Branstine, who Steven, he's known her for a while, but the world was kind of introduced to her a little bit more this Wimbledon. She played Sabalenka first round, really held her own in that second set and kind of let people know, like, hey, I've got the game to hang around up top. So 100. Stick around for that interview. It will be awesome. Before we get to the interview, we're going to give you a little breakdown of our week. We got our Betway best bet of the day, Eala hour check-in. We're going to, of course, we got to talk about Dimitrov. If you want even more in-depth about Dimitrov's injury versus Sinner, go check out Steven's latest upload on the channel. And then we're just going to cover the rest of Wimbledon. And, of course, we got to address the comments from last week. I believe we had around 11 comments. So if you're new here and you want to be featured on the show, leave a comment right now. Could be something about Wimbledon. Could be something about the episode. Steven and I will feature it on our next week's episode, and you will get the shout out. So leave those comments. Steven, week's been full of tennis, and some adorable videos of Shep bouncing around in the in his crib.
Yeah,
he looked when I saw that video, I'm like, yo, he is getting older.
Yeah, it's been awesome. That's what my last week has been. It's been watching Wimbledon every morning with Shepard, my son Shepard, and yeah. We're in like the golden age. I'm trying to be like with Nicole, my wife, just being like, this is the day. These are the golden days. Like you got to think like every single day right now is, you never know what the future holds. So these could be like the best days. And every time I go to pick him up in the morning when he wakes up or after any nap, he's just like always standing in his crib waiting for you to see who comes in the door. He like starts bouncing when he sees you. It's the best thing ever. So if you're thinking about it, go have kids. If you're in like a committed, serious relationship, go have kids. But yeah, Wimbledon, family life. I was just essentially watching Wimbledon. I was like getting a little bit, I was like kind of getting bored of Wimbledon up until this point. I think I said that. I was like, I just feel like it hasn't had much sauce going on until now. But it was still awesome. Like there's just on the west coast of Canada, you wake up, the match is already going. It's awesome. You got your coffee, the sun's shining because it's the summer. So it's like you're 6 a.m. You're up. Sun's shining, Wimbledon's going. Doesn't really get better than that.
Yeah. I know. I feel like, too, with this year's Wimbledon, it's like obviously like a ton has happened. There's been so many upsets, but if you're buying a ticket, you'd be kind of pissed of like, dang, I'm watching, some people that are unseeded, guys that like probably the people showing up to Wimbledon aren't very familiar with, guys and girls. So, dang, I'm paying all this money to see not no names, but kind of no names in the broad sense.
Yeah, there's a bit of that. I think if you bought tickets for the third round, you might be hoping for some of those matchups. Like, for example, Felix Auger-Aliassime could have played Carlos Alcaraz in the third round, but since Felix got upset, then it wasn't, and then it was whoever played Carlos Alcaraz in the third round. I think I crushed, which I didn't see. But there's a bit of that. But that's we're definitely complaining from a place of privilege because it is awesome just to be able to watch Wimbledon.
For sure.
Yeah, how's your week, JP?
Similar. I was down at the beach, which is always it's always a great mix watching Wimbledon and having the beach right there.
Yeah.
So you're able to wake up in the morning, watch some tennis, go pop out to the beach, hang out, do some body surfing, play around with the nieces and nephews / cousins. 4th of July weekend too. Fireworks everywhere. Smoked meats everywhere, burgers. Everything you want out of America happens on 4th of July. If you want to visit America, come on the 4th of July to get the full American experience.
Yes.
And then my brother, he actually proposed to his girlfriend. So we were in Charleston. That was a fun celebration. We all love her. We're excited for her to be in the family. I was the first one married of me and my two brothers. So now I get a sister. First sister in the family. I'm excited. So shout out to Sam and Rachel.
Right on.
So yeah, man, week was good, and got back to Nashville late last night. Woke up this morning, back to the grind.
How many planes have you been on this year, do you think?
Yeah, I need to check my Southwest app. But I bet this year, I mean, we probably at least 20 flights so far this year.
Yeah.
And then I've got 2 more trips in July, I think. And then this fall will be insane. We're traveling a bunch. But
Yeah, wow. It'd be funny at the end of your year 2025 to see how many flights you went on. I wonder if you'll reach like 100.
I know, I hope so. If I reach 100, I'll be getting the perks from all the airlines. Then we'll be flying for free to Wimbledon next year on ground coverage.
For real. And that's the goal.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is the goal. It will be awesome to go to Wimbledon next year and to be able to play some of these Betway bets live so we have the full experience. But we don't even need it because a hot streak is coming. July is one of the hotter months of the year. So hopefully it will translate into our best bet of the day. We've been on a little bit of a cold streak, but it doesn't mean we're not going to turn it around right now. And this is the best bet of the day presented by Betway. Hit an ace with Betway and get up to $200 if your first bet loses, plus 50 bonus spins no matter the result. Scan the QR code on the screen or click on the link in the details section to create an account and redeem your offer. Offer is only available for new customers. Terms and conditions always apply. And this offer is not available in Ontario, and you must be 19 and up. Please play responsibly. Steven, are we given a future on the field of who's going to win?
No, I mean, that's actually a good point. We can look at the Wimbledon men's singles outrights, men's outright winner. Let's take a look. Carlos Alcaraz plus 100. Jannik Sinner plus 200. Novak Djokovic plus 400. What do you think?
I mean, shoot, if it's between those three for my value, I got to roll with Djokovic.
He's got to beat Sinner, then Alcaraz. Not officially yet, but.
Which, depending on how Sinner's elbow is feeling, maybe it's a little bit more doable than it would be in normal cases.
Was Sinner getting work on his elbow today?
Yeah, that's what I was.
I didn't even see that.
He got the work. I wasn't too sure what was going on. Then I started seeing the tweets roll through.
Word. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
And one of the tweets was Pavi G. Shout out Pavi G. He's like, somebody check the trainer, make sure they're not rubbing in any colostomy on his elbow.
Classic. Yeah. Somebody check the trainer. He's probably like hoping that Sinner hurt his elbow. That'll be interesting though. I will say that'll be really interesting if Djokovic plays Sinner because this is grass. Sinner has an advantage, I think, everywhere else, but there's one last surface that the old Djokovic can probably still pull some tricks out of his bag for.
Experience, man.
I think Alcaraz at plus 100 makes sense.
Right. And I mean, just watching him, there's a viral video going on in the U.S. It's like this football trainer.
Yeah.
He's working with young receivers, and it's like a horrible video, but he's at the cone, he's telling them to flow, like be smooth in the route. He's like, flow. And it's just the most non-applicable move to football that you could possibly do. And it's like, somebody's got to stop these trainers.
Yeah.
But the flow thing is going viral. And Alcaraz in his last match against Rublev, like he was the definition of, I feel like, flow, where he's kind of just hopping around the baseline. Like I tweeted it out, but it's like he's almost staying over on one side of purposely to see if he can make it there.
Yeah.
Because he knows he's going to hit a winner.
Right. And that's an interesting comparison because in football, like when you're trying to make a juke, you can't really move like that on grass at Wimbledon because you'll slip, right? So it's like Alcaraz is the most explosive athlete we have in tennis right now, I think, and he's still able to show that raw athleticism on the grass where he's not able to do like those quick starts. Right. You kind of got to get out to speed, and then he's just sliding into stuff, squash shotting, making Rublev sick with the gets he's getting. Like you really got to feel sick for the guy when like you don't know what else a guy would have to do to beat Alcaraz, and Alcaraz just has it.
Right. And that's why he is probably the best bet of the day, presented by Betway.
Right. Come on.
Alcaraz is playing great. If you want to put your safe money, put it on Alcaraz.
Yeah.
Before we start talking more Alcaraz, more Wimbledon,
yeah,
we got to do a quick check-in with the Eala Hour.
Yeah.
Unfortunate she's not still in the tournament, but she still played great first round.
Come on.
Steven, what is Alex Eala up to right now?
Well, via her Instagram, you've seen that she looks like she's somewhere tropical. Maybe back home in the Philippines. I don't know, but she's taking a vacation this week, which is great. Love that her Instagram story said this and D on a random Monday with like a greater than symbol. So looks like maybe the Philippines. She's on Do Not Disturb. She's got a video with a friend at the beach. They're relaxing. So love to see that. Keeping life light and easy. We'll see where she plays next. There is another, since you did play great on the grass courts, there is another grass court tournament actually in New York, or not New York, where is it? The International Tennis Hall of Fame.
Oh, like Rhode Island, right?
Yeah, Rhode Island. So
yeah.
I wonder if she'll show up there. I think our next guest, Carson Branstine, is supposed to show up there, but I'll confirm that with her. So yeah, love seeing Eala play on the grass. I think that's definitely her surface going forward. But yeah, we have a bit of a vacation from results for her because she's not playing.
Good deal. It is deserved. She's played a lot of matches recently. Speaking of that Hall of Fame Open, Jack Sock is coming back to tennis for doubles. Did you see this?
Yeah, I did see this, and I would love your thoughts on this because I have some thoughts. It just seems like a bit of a joke to me.
This is, let's see, I'm trying to think. It was like Richard Branson, right? Billionaire. He pays all this money to do all these crazy travels, go to space, things like that. Jeff Bezos, he's got his space program going on. All like billionaires love to just do random side quests. But Bill Ackman has decided that his side quest is just to become the oldest man to get an ATP point.
Yeah.
And to me, like, he's probably the only billionaire that would even cross their mind. And so it is hilarious. It's just like a classic billionaire move to me.
Yeah, and I think I love most of Bill Ackman's like opinions and thoughts and stuff. But I don't love this move. Like, I don't think the precedent it sets for tennis is a bit weird because tournaments can give out the wild card to whoever they want to. I don't think there's any rules. I don't think you have to be like a registered ATP player or anything like that.
Right.
But he does get that wild card instead of like a bunch of players who have been grinding, who have no money, etc. I don't think it's also the end of the world. It's a doubles wild card, unfortunately.
And it's a challenger, right?
It is a challenger. That's right. So, there's different ways you can look at it, but I think the precedent it sets is like, I could just see like a bunch of celebrities wanting to get in there, and like the federations are already so corrupt in a way that I could see them just happily taking a payday as like a pay and play thing. So it's a little bit cringy for me, but it'll be actually cool to see what like a regular Joe Blow club tennis player. He's probably pretty good, but it'll be interesting to see like what he's like on an actual tennis court versus professional players.
Because he's old too, like he could play as much as he wants, and I know it's doubles, but it's still isn't he like in his 60s or close to it?
I would think so, yeah. So
and then even Jack, like obviously Jack's a Grand Slam winner in doubles, but I'm sure he hadn't played tennis in over a year at least.
Yeah, so you can hide a lot in doubles, I will say.
Right.
You like the movement, you can hide your movement in doubles a lot, but at the elite level, which definitely the Challenger Tour is, it'll be interesting to see. It might be a bagel breadstick type of situation.
I hope they get the dub just for the chaos that it would bring.
It would bring chaos, yeah. I saw that. There's also another wild card, Jeannie Bouchard, into that same tournament back on the tennis court.
They're showing love to the pickleball crew.
Exactly. I know they're realizing that maybe the pickleball era is not as there's not as much of a payoff as it looked. It's not as what's the word I'm looking for?
Honest, to me, I don't think that it's pickleball is scratching the itch that they got from competing in tennis.
No, I think maybe the payoff originally has worn off, and now they're coming back to their true love of a sport, which is definitely tennis. Jeannie Bouchard, though, I did see she'd been training in New York at this new indoor with Noah Rubin with this new indoor facility they have, which I've heard is like crazy expensive to play on. Like, I would love. It's like an indoor tennis facility in Manhattan. Just imagine. the economics there. But she's been training, she's been hitting, so we'll see how Jeannie Bouchard can play. She's still young enough; like she should be able to get back into it if she puts her mind to it after she's gone and got the pickle bag. So we'll see.
I love it, man. On to Wimbledon.
Yes.
Well, I know you already made the video on it, but Dimitrov, man, I truly thought, again, I know he was 2 sets up. I know it's Sinner, like Sinner could have easily won this match, but the way he was playing, the way he's been playing this whole tournament, in a tournament where most of these guys that are probably like equal to Dimitrov have had trouble, he's been cruising through.
Yeah.
So he's been playing well all tournament. It wasn't just this match. And I really felt like he was going to get it done. I felt like this was his best chance to make his first ever Grand Slam final. And then now, at his age, I'm really not sure. This might have been the last chance to do it.
Yeah, well, it's just hard to think of the road forward. 5 majors in a row, he's had to withdraw or retire from a match due to injury. And yeah, it seems like his body just picks the worst time for it to happen.
Like, heck no less.
Exactly. And like you said, he'd been cruising through his matches all tournament, and then he goes to play Sinner, the number 1 seed. He's up 2 sets to love. He's playing great. Even at that 3rd set, he's playing great. 2-all. Boom. Tournament over. Immediate retirement. And you're just like, I just can't imagine the level of frustration that you would have from just not being able to play because of your body. Because he's in this last year where he's had all these retirements, his level has been so good. Like throughout his whole career, I think you would put this level up with a lot of the other times he's played, but his body is just consistently failing him. So I think that snowball gets worse because every time you get to a big moment, you're like, is my body going to hold up or not? How do you mentally handle that?
And yeah, I got to believe too that in this match, he wasn't, I don't think he was even thinking of it. He's probably thinking, man, I'm 2 sets up. Like, I'm feeling great. I'm playing amazing. I just got to do my thing. This one more set and I'm into the quarterfinals. And then boom. Like, I wonder if he was feeling any kind of tightness before. Hopefully, I know some of the stuff is saying that it's torn. Hopefully it's like a minor tear, because if it's full tear, I mean, you're that age. It's like, man, do I really want to rehab? And he'll be out the whole year, the whole rest of this year. And then maybe he would get back around this time next year.
Yeah, it's a really tough one because this is right side too. So it's like every part of your swings are connected to that. But yeah, like you said, like he's, when he was up 2 sets to love, I said I had the thought, I hope his body holds up, because so I'm thinking that I gotta think he must be thinking that as well.
Yeah.
When it's the last 4 majors have ended that way. And I think he'd probably been winning most of those matches because the last 2 were in the first round. So just so disappointing. And I don't know how, because I'm sure him and his team, like he's one of the most professional guys out there. Like his body's like perfect. He's super flexible. Like he's flexible like Djokovic.
Yep.
It seems like he does all the same level of work as Djokovic. He lives in Monte Carlo, similar builds. He just has the muscles go in a more significant way than Djokovic does. Like Djokovic has obviously had a few, like at the Australian Open, semifinals, wasn't able to keep playing. But just Dimitrov down bad with the luck on that. It's terrible to watch.
Terrible to watch. Lucky for Sinner, and that's somebody that will take advantage of that type of luck if his elbow is not seriously injured or not. But it's like sometimes luck is required for some of these guys to win majors, and usually when somebody gets a lucky break, sometimes it's a sign of like, oh, if this happened for him, he might win it all. Like it's just in his cards. But
yeah,
as long as Alcaraz is in, I know Alcaraz is probably watching. I'm wondering, man, if Sinner loses to Dimitrov, does Alcaraz lose next? I know he's going for the 3-peat, but just his trend of when Sinner was out, not as good of results.
I didn't think of that. That would be truly mind blowing to see Sinner and Alcaraz crash out of Wimbledon, and then you're just like, well, I guess Djokovic is the next obvious guy to step in and win it. But with the way life goes right now in tennis, it feels like that wouldn't be a given. You feel like he'd just be like, all right, I'm out too.
Right.
I can't win against the best. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, this won't be fun. Like, I might as well just
U.S. Flaco is like, I'm here, guys. I'm a star.
Speaking of Sinner and Shelton, you put out a tweet earlier.
I did.
You said American tennis fans don't want to hear. And then Ben Shelton, it was like some bull crap about Ben Shelton not beating Sinner or like not winning a set in their last 12 sets or something.
It wasn't some bull crap. It was just the stats. I was just saying, if you're an American tennis fan and you're looking at this, you probably don't like seeing that Sinner has won the last 12 sets in a row versus Shelton.
Look, if you're an American tennis fan, you don't give a crap about the past. You care about right now, and you definitely don't care about some Canadian tennis personality talking about your country when I don't see any Canadians in there.
I hope American men's tennis fans don't care about the past, because it's been a while since you guys have had anything to really cheer about. Since 2004, we've won the same amount of men's majors. I will have to add, but I wasn't trying to be contentious there. I'm just knowing that American men's tennis fans are desperately hoping that, they got a quarter of the quarterfinals are American. They got 2 American men, which is great. You're right. That's great results. Better than, 2021 Wimbledon, we had 2 Canadians in the quarterfinals and one of them in the semifinals. Yeah. So we're going opposite ways. We're like 2 ships passing in the night in that sense. But Shelton on grass versus Sinner, honestly, this is a surface where Sinner's the most gettable. I was saying this in the show. I think this is his worst surface, grass, so far, and that's fair because everyone plays the least amount on it, so it takes longer to get good with it. But Shelton there, I think has like a chance, like a puncher's chance, especially if Sinner is a little banged up. Then Fritz versus Khachanov, I think is the favorite. So my prediction would be a Fritz Alcaraz semifinal, which would have been the prediction from the beginning of the tournament, but we'll see.
I know, man. It's gonna be good. I mean, Shelton's been playing awesome. We don't even have to talk about it long since it's kind of out of the news, but some of the stuff at Wimbledon has been so ridiculous with these rules. When they made him come out and play, they played the one game and it took 1 minute.
Yeah.
I mean, that might have been one of the most ridiculous things I've seen in all of sports. And everybody commenting, oh, it's Wimbledon, there's a curfew, it's a town, it's all these things, blah, 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 blah. Listen, save it, because there is 1 minute. And, oh, my God, it drives me insane seeing some of these things. Like, I'm pro player, and that stuff cannot happen. And it messes with the mental. Like, obviously, Shelton took care of business in his next match as well. But, like, imagine they cut you off with 1 game left. You got to go through your whole routine the next day. Like, you don't truly have an off day, and it's all for some bull crap. Like, there is light.
That is crazy. That is crazy. We see it. It feels like this rule has come up more than normal this tournament. Maybe that's just recency bias, but and then I think you saw Andy Murray tweeting out today how ridiculous it is that they closed the roof. During which match was that? I think Sinner Dimitrov.
Yeah.
Was that Sinner Dimitrov? Was that after the second set they closed it?
Yeah, because I think it was like there's like 45 minutes or an hour left of light. And they closed.
But I'm like, man, like would that have did they have to sit after the second set to let the roof close? And then they come back and he hurts himself. Like, I don't know.
You get a little tight,
but you get cold. No. Yeah, because I think I remember watching Sinner and Dimitrov come back out and serve to warm up after the break. And then 4 games later, his pec blows out. So,
wow.
Like, because you definitely do cool down sitting there for even 5 or 10 minutes while it closes. So that's like, I don't know if that's the timing of how it worked. I think that's something to look at, but that's pretty crazy, actually.
Nuts, man. Yeah. Another a shout out on the women's side that I feel like deserves to be talked about would be Amanda Anisimova. Get into the quarterfinals. I saw in 2023 she was ranked in the 400s.
Wow.
And I mean, we've seen it time and time again how hard it is for players to get back from a ranking that low. You have to win so many matches. Of course, there's a little bit of help with, her agency, like she's able to get some wild cards. But to be able to crawl your way back from being ranked in the 400s to now being ranked number 8 in the world, making quarterfinals at Wimbledon, dealing with the things she had to deal with, with her dad passing and everything. Like, shout out to her for making the comeback and being who everybody thought she was going to be when she was younger. So dealing with that adversity, getting to number 8 spot in the world, I hope she can keep going.
Yeah, that's an awesome story, and she definitely deserves to be there. She's such a good player, such a good personality, so that's awesome to see. Should we, there's so much, by the time this comes out, it'll be a little bit old news, but we talked about the big stories, quarterfinal matchups going down. It's going to be good. Should we look at the comments from last week before we send it to Carson?
We should. I would be remiss if I didn't bring up the idiocy that I saw on Twitter earlier today about there was a big WTA fan, and we're a pro WTA podcast. We want tennis to be as big as possible.
100.
And now I'm starting to feel like not everybody feels this way, because I saw a tweet, Roger Federer after Djokovic's match, which shout out Djokovic. I think this was the first match he said he's won in front of Roger.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I'd imagine that Djokovic probably isn't actually nervous in front of him, but I would be nervous if I was playing in front of Federer, knowing I'm one behind his record of 8 Wimbledons.
Yeah.
It's like part of me feels like this guy in the stands doesn't want me to win.
Well, that's definitely true. I was just saying.
Yeah. But
like what Federer says, that's definitely true.
The tweet was, Federer leaving center court just as the girls come on to play is exactly what's wrong with tennis and why the WTA struggles to get the publicity and the hype ATP gets, even when it's a lesser product. Which just has to be the most idiotic way to go about boosting the publicity of the WTA.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great idea to try to take on and blame the biggest icon on the men's in tennis history.
Yeah.
Who is pro WTA, pro everything, pro tennis. He wants to make it as big as possible. Somehow the lack of publicity is Roger Federer's fault. And the amount of likes that the tweet's getting, I'm like, guys, we all want to see tennis do better. And going after Roger Federer is the least productive way to do that.
Yeah. And they said in the tweet, it's a lesser product, which that's not a fact.
Right. Like, come on, we got to be smarter.
And that's not, the main point is that's not even true, because Federer probably went to the bathroom, and that's what the video is. He also came back because I know he was there applauding one of the women's matches either before or after that. So it's like, yeah.
Dude, Andreeva in her post-match press conference, she's like, I was kind of nervous. I wanted to win in front of him. I just wanted to see him in person. So she was stoked that he was there. I'm like, you want to talk about your publicity? The hottest star in women's tennis right now is talking about him being there. So
exactly.
Pipe down, Vic.
Twitter, I mean, if you spend too much time on X, you literally will go crazy because it's such an insane place.
Insane play.
Yeah. So that's hilarious. Anyways, let's see what our audience, we're talking about the Wimbledon audience. Let's talk about what our audience is saying to us from the last pod, which was which was the title there was.
Oh yeah, it was
they won. That's right. From the beginning of the week, feels like an eternity ago.
Dude, it really does.
I got my first one here if you want me to go. It's at PokeChop4K4U. It says, being a Carlos fan is like riding a wild roller coaster. Wouldn't have it any other way. Hoping for another Alcaraz final. Keep up the great podcast. Looking forward to listening to the Wimbledon recaps. Tina.
Oh, Tina's dropping the name because she commented on a video before, but we didn't know there was no Tina in there. So it's good to put a name to a username.
Appreciate it, Tina. And in response to that, Brenda Johnson, regular commenter, said, I want Carlos to win. I want Carlos in the final and to win. I'm not interested in center, so he doesn't need to be there at all.
This is what the YouTube comments is for. It's a safe space to let these opinions out. The next one, Julian PM 2024. Great feature, guys. Appreciate the daily content during the Grand Slam. More power to you. Shout out to you, Julian.
I appreciate you, Julian. At Money9111 says the curfew rule was put in place in 2009 when Wimby wanted to add the roof to center court, so it was mutually agreed upon. Not saying that I agree with it, but it's not a rule that has been in place for that long. Good point. Fair enough. Appreciate the context. Although 2009 is becoming quite a long time. Just saying.
Yeah. Edward Enterprise. I love this comment so much.
Wait, before we get into that, sorry, JP. On that, I just realized 2009, 2008 is that final Federer-Nadal.
Yeah.
Really dark then. And Federer afterwards, like, I don't know if we, like, it affected us both equally, obviously, but instead he's probably thinking, I play with a little more precision than Nadal does, so actually the light affects me more. Next year, $100 million roof on the place. That's what happens when you're the king. But
king of the court.
Yeah. Sorry.
Oh wait, I actually skipped one. This one is from Tej143. I was not worried that Carlos would lose, but I was bothered by his first serve percentage. Love the attention to detail, Tej.
This guy's analytical.
Good. It's a fair worry.
It's a fair worry. Do you want to do the Edward comment because you liked it?
I got you. We needed this. Good show, guys. Wow, Wimbledon is here again. Seems like yesterday we were in Australia. Don't fret too much about pronouncing names. Some of us have watched AI-generated feeds where they totally butcher the names. Can't wait to see Joker in action. It was interesting to hear you guys talk about traditions. I'm old enough to remember Agassi not playing because of the wearing of all white. A stroll down memory lane. There's so much peace to this comment.
Yeah.
Like I know Edward is confident in himself.
Yeah, that guy's got a lot more peace in his mind than I do, for example. Because even when you say, this brings me to another intrusive thought I have about Andre Agassi. I love seeing Andre Agassi on the desk at the French Open with TNT giving his thoughts.
Yep.
What I don't love is seeing him on the pickleball court constantly. And he's kind of shilling for pickleball, which I get. Go collect the bag. But no, it's ultra cringy to me for him is he's out there on the pickleball court hitting a two-handed backhand.
I know.
And I know it's because he always had like the perfect backhand. So it's like constantly making the joke at like, look, I'm hitting my perfect backhand on a pickleball court. Isn't that so funny? It's like, no, it's not. Because in pickleball, you should be trying to get to the net immediately, no matter what. So it's just like this. I'm just like, stay in tennis, bro. You should have, maybe if you had played Wimbledon that one year, you would have had enough money to not have to go to pickleball. I love you. Stay in Wimbledon or stay in tennis. We want your tennis insights because it's like incredible because you are one of the greatest players of all time. Anyways, that's
it pains me to see him move out there on pickleball too. His knees, I feel like, are shot.
Yeah, that doesn't help your knees for sure.
Yeah, but
anyways, that was an intrusive thought. Sorry, Edward. Thank you for that comment. Beautiful stuff. I'm gonna read this one for JP. Because I also agree with this. This is from Tej143. JP has beautiful, smiling blue eyes. That's the comment.
That might be one of the nicest things I've ever heard.
Wow.
And they say when you're a guy, like, because, guys don't really, when you're not, like, a movie star looking like a Chris Hemsworth type, you don't really receive many compliments on your looks throughout your life. Yeah. And it's like a guy can get a compliment and it'll last him for 5 years.
It might change the trajectory of his life.
Thank you for the next 5 years of happiness, Tej.
Wow. What a good feeling on this podcast we're having.
Yeah. Steven, you want to go ahead and read the next one too?
Sure. This guy is this is very relevant, or this comment makes sense from a guy's handle that says at tennis history and results at 45-40. He says, guys, Krejcikova is not a former champion. Until the next person wins it, she is very much a current champion. Kind of love it.
I love that too. That's a great call. Only reason I asked you to read it is because I didn't want to mess up her name again. They bullied me into it.
You're getting rattled, and I get that. And you know what? I love someone sticking up for the stickler. I think she, though, now that I'm reading this comment, I'm sure your comment was written before this happened, or I know it was, but now she's lost. So she actually does that. I think, yeah, she's actually still the current champion.
She is.
But that's a great question. Are you the current champion even though you're out of the current tournament?
Right. You got to be. I think
no one else has won it, but you definitely are winning it again.
Dude, watching her match was kind of tough.
Yeah. Why was that tough? I didn't see any of it.
So she was she was playing against Navarro, and then she was playing really well, and then she truly just got so gassed. Like, she started to go hands on knees, could barely breathe, like, and she stuck around, but footwork was gone, like, body was shutting down. She started crying, like, going into the last game or two.
Yeah.
Because, she's coming back from the back injury.
Yeah.
And it sucks when you're reigning champ, and that's how you got to go out, and you can just feel your body breaking down mid-match.
Yeah.
But she'll be back. She'll be back.
She'll be back 100%. Terrible feeling all around. A bit of a somber podcast in one way with thinking about the injuries, but also a lot of good vibes in here. Interacting with our audience. Thank you guys for your comments. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for subscribing. So without further ado, let's kick it to Carson Branstine. The interview is actually happening after we're recording this, so we're just going to count on it happening. She's an awesome player. I can't wait to learn more about her story. So here is our chat with Carson. All right, we are joined by a very special guest, Carson Branstine. Am I pronouncing that right, Carson? Because we forgot to check beforehand.
That is the right way. Thank you.
And welcome to the Slice. We are so happy to have you after an amazing run you had at Wimbledon. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm great. Everything's good. I mean, just life goes on, It was an amazing week, one of the best weeks of my life, and I just want to continue on that streak and keep that same energy around me all the time now.
We love it. We love the energy. JP had a question. He read something about, a couple weeks before Wimbledon, where you were at in your journey, and we want to know if it's true.
Yes, I was reading. There was rumors that if going into the French Open, if you did not make main draw or qualies, that you would think about quitting tennis altogether. Is that true? And what was how serious were you? Would you think it's something you would have followed through with, or was it more like you would quit for a little bit and come back?
I mean, I was pretty keen on following through with it. I mean, at the same time in my head, I was like, okay, I have to be playing the worst tennis not to make it, because at that point when I was kind of talking that way to myself, I mean, I said that from the start of when I even came back at all and I had no ranking. And then also when it started getting to like crunch time, I was like, okay, I'd have to lose like every match in the next 2 months not to make it. That's, I mean, not impossible, but close. So, yeah, I mean, I was pretty certain I was going to do it, but no, I literally, I applied to a venture capital job. You guys are the first ones to hear this. I applied for a VC job and I got called back and everything. And it was like, I felt that if I would have gone for that, I would have for sure gotten hired. It was in downtown LA. I knew what my salary would have been. So no, I was that far. I was like, if it's not Roland Garros, it's something else.
Yeah. So that's amazing. And you seem like someone who has a clear vision of what you're trying to do and you kind of your life. And I was looking back through your matches as you kind of came back and really, like you said, started playing pro from no ranking, essentially. Like all of 2024, you were, I would call it like grinding, right? There was a lot of matches in Tunisia, in Turkey. Like a lot of tennis fans kind of see you pop up at Wimbledon, but they don't really know the grind. Like, can you maybe summarize some of the work that goes into getting to a place where you can put these performances together?
Right. I mean, I think that's something that's not talked about enough in tennis, because everyone has their own grind story in a way. I mean, there's some special cases where there's players, they grow up with a lot of money or something, but even then, like, they have their own struggles too, So, yeah, I think that most players, I even looked at Sabalenka's record. She's even been to Tunisia before, so I was like, okay, she's done it, even though she was like probably 15 when she was doing that. I feel like everyone's kind of been there, it's kind of like the starting point for a lot of people, whether you go to Monastir or in Egypt and Antalya and all those tournaments. I feel like it's kind of the base of everything. And I knew by experience and seeing other players, you have to get out of that level as quickly as you can. And if you kind of stay there, it's the road to nowhere. I think you kind of just like stand at 25K and 15K grind. You get really comfortable there, and that's like a place that you don't want to be. So my mindset going in, regardless of not really having a coach or any kind of professional setup, I was like, okay, I'm at these tournaments, and the best thing I can do is practice with as many players as I can. I know I could be getting fitter, and I love being in the gym anyways. It's never like a grind to do. I just genuinely love exercising and becoming fitter. So that was never a tough part for me. And I have to take care of myself, and that's stretching, that's eating well and everything. And these are all in my control. I mean, you're traveling alone, you have a lot of free time.
Yeah.
So I was able to cover my bases pretty well, but still it's easy to get lost in it. There's players who aren't professional and they're doing stupid stuff like while they're in the tournaments. That was never me. My whole mindset was very like win I would tell myself in my head, win and leave, win and leave, win and leave. And even if that sounds terrible to some people, that's the truth. Like I would repeat that to myself all day long because I would see things. I'm like, oh my gosh, the players who are here for 8-9 weeks straight, then they go home for one, then they come back. That will never be me. I have so many better things to give to the world than to do that. So yeah, I had to go through that grind, and that was just a reality. I knew that I needed to prove myself at every single level. And I won two 15Ks. I won a couple W35s. Then I won a 50. I won a 75. I made the finals in 125. So I really built my way up and proved myself at every level now, which was really nice. I did that without wild cards or anything. It was just me. So, yeah, I think it really taught me a lot about myself and my fight and my courage when I'm playing. And, nothing really bothers me. So I think playing at the higher level, I feel like I'm a kid in Disneyland or something because it's so nice, everything.
Yeah. Where do you feel like it comes from? Is it one of your parents? Did they like instill something in you when you were younger? Is it a coach along the way, or is it just kind of like a natural Carson specific sort of gift? Clearly it's a gift, but I don't know if there's any kind of place it comes from.
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it was from my parents. My parents, I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit, even though I'm close to my family, I feel like in a way I'm a little bit of a black sheep in a way.
Right.
I was honestly traveling and stuff from like 13, 14. I was already leaving home and stuff. So I feel like, not in a bad way I mean this, but I almost was like a lost child a little bit in some ways. And I really had to figure things out from an early age. And I think needing to be an adult really young, even though sometimes I look back and I'm like, gosh, it's kind of sad. Like I was living kind of an adult life so early. It also taught me a lot, and I learned what I wanted from a very young age. I feel like I was born knowing what I wanted, and I know in my brain I like things. I know I want to live a certain lifestyle one day. I like being the best at everything I do, even if it's silly. I'm not competing against anyone but myself. Like I literally want to prove myself that I can do everything. Right. And though that could be a totally negative trait sometimes, I think I've channeled it in the right way so far in my life where it's helped me. So yeah, I've also been really fortunate to be around a lot of successful people my whole life. And even though I didn't grow up with a lot of money, my family was middle class, and there was a point my dad actually lost everything, and I had to eat at my grandparents' house every day, and we had to have people pay our mortgage, and my mom and I had to go around, our area and collect bottles to recycle because we didn't have money for anything. Yeah. Like that's the levels that I had to see as a kid. So I'm like, I never want to have to live through that again. All I want is stability in my life. I want to be around all these successful people, not just because I know them, but because I'm one of them. So I kind of took that to heart from probably, I swear I've been thinking this way since I was like 8 years old, maybe even earlier. And that's just me.
Stevie, fire me up. He's firing me up listening to her.
Yeah,
I'm about to run through a brick wall.
Like unhinged, but you got to be that way, I think.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's the dichotomy of life. You like crave stability, so you become a professional tennis player. It's like,
yeah, I know it's kind of the opposite actually, because professional tennis is like the least stable. But I think as a female athlete, it's the best opportunity for that. And I love tennis. I mean, just like the whole culture around tennis, it's so fun. It's respected by every kind of person on the planet. You get the royal family at Wimbledon, and then you go to the US Open and you have all cool actors and stuff watching you. So yeah, it's appreciated by everyone, and I love that about it.
And you got like the primo experience at Wimbledon, beyond qualifying, you got to play the number 1 seed. So you really literally got to put your game up against the best in the world. So how does having that experience kind of affect your confidence going forward? Like you played her well. It was a close match. I was watching it. It was like You guys are like a similar build. It did not look like deer in the headlights. So that was awesome. How did it kind of affect your outlook?
It's a huge confidence boost for sure. I mean, the first set was not great, and a lot of people thought I was nervous, and I've already said this around, but I actually wasn't nervous anymore once I was out there. It's just like, you think that you have a game plan, but she's number one in the world, so it doesn't really matter what you do. She can clearly beat anybody. So, yeah, I went out there in the first set. I kind of felt like I was just trying to find my ground. I'm like, hey, where does my game match up with this girl? Because it's not like I have a lot of experience behind me to know how my game matches up with top 10 players or whatever. Because the only top 20 player I've played and beaten was Samsonova a couple weeks earlier, and I was like, okay, she was ranked, her career high is 12, and I was clearly the better player than her on that day. I feel like she wasn't injured. She didn't have a bad day. I just outplayed her. I was the better tennis player on that day in Holland. But playing someone like Sabalenka is completely different because she beats girls top 10 like 0-1 sometimes. So I'm like, I don't know what the heck is going on. You know what I mean? But after I got the first game and I kind of like had that funny moment and like celebrated with the crowd almost, I was like, okay, I've been in a lot of these games. Even though I'm making errors, I'm still hitting winners, and my serve could be so much better right now. So let's just go on that, see if I can hold. And then I started to hold every time. And then I realized once we got into the rallies, I was winning most of the long rallies. And then looking at the stats afterwards, even though it was 6-1, 7-5, we both hit the same amount of winners. We both hit 17 winners in the match. I had 7 aces, and she only had 3. And yeah, all of like the dictating stats, I was equal or better. I was just unforced errors. And so I'm like, okay, that's a huge thing, knowing that I was the one making the mistakes here. It's not like she was beating, I was actually beating myself. So, I mean, taking that away with confidence, it's like, okay, like I have game, I know I have weapons, and the sky's the limit now. I just have to back it up and keep going. Take care of the details. We'll see. I want to play her again really badly.
Come on, we need it.
That'd be nice.
US Open.
Cool. I want to play her again. Not even in a bad way. I think she's super nice. I actually love her personality, but yeah, I think it's exciting.
Yeah, she's a favorite of ours. I'm sure you will play her again, as you're, in our opinion, clearly going to keep moving in that direction. You played your friend Bianca Andreescu also at Wimbledon. Like, could you just summarize kind of like, you guys grew up together probably. I don't know how close you were at a young age, but you saw her go out. Was that kind of when you were going to college, when she went out and won the US Open?
Yeah.
And then,
in year of college when she won. Yeah.
Yeah. So that must have been crazy. And then now you guys are both on the tour playing at these big events. How was that?
I mean, I love that we're together again and we're able to lean on each other, because she is someone who's very close to me, and through juniors, when we played doubles with each other a lot, we have some incredible memories and experiences. I mean, winning junior Grand Slams. We made the final of a WTA 250 when we were like 16 or 17, turning 17. So we've done really cool stuff. Like, we've had a lot of experience, and obviously she's done it all since I was in college and I was injured and stuff. But even then, like, we've been through struggle together as well through all the injuries and stuff. Like, a lot of those kind of synced up when we're both out. So yeah, it's really nice to be in the same environment as her again and have someone that I can actually trust that has my best interest. But being on the opposite side of the net and playing against each other, it's not easy at all, because at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, you want to win the match and I'll do anything I can to win, but it's still respectable. And I think if anyone watched the match, they can tell that we clearly respect each other, and that we just were fighting to win a tennis match. There was nothing beyond it. And afterwards, we talked, we hugged. It was totally fine. But yeah.
Yeah, that's tough. We hate seeing the Canadians matched up against each other early in tournaments, but it was cool to see how you celebrated, like almost no celebration at the end, because out of respect for your friend. So very cool.
Do you feel like you were more nervous walking out on center court or meeting Djokovic?
The way I met Novak was actually, it just like caught me off guard. So I don't think I was nervous for that.
Yeah.
I was definitely more nervous walking out center court. I was more nervous. I was like, what if I faint or something? It's like all my intrusive thoughts. I was like, What if I faint? What if I throw up? What if I like embarrass myself? Like these are the things like terrible going through my brain. But yeah, after the match, I had met him when I was walking to media. He was like, Carson, and I was like, oh my gosh, hey you, like, what's up? You know?
No bad. Don't have time. I'm headed to media. I'll catch up with you
I
later.
literally like had to leave, and he knew too, and he was walking out with his kids and stuff, but he was super nice, saying, thank you for shouting me out, and that I think you have a great game. I saw your highlights and some of your matches, and I'd love to talk to you more when there's more time, and blah blah blah. So I guess it's not the last time we'll talk, but yeah, he's so awesome, and I love that he connects with a lot of the younger players. I think it's an important thing, as someone who's at that point in their career. I wish more players did it, honestly, especially on the women's side. It doesn't seem like there's anyone quite as engaging, so it was refreshing.
Yeah. This is one thing I wanted to ask you, and I didn't, ask you beforehand, but Djokovic has talked about his faith publicly. I've seen you talk about it kind of publicly as well on Twitter. JP and I are both Christians. How does, is that, how big of a part of your life is that, and kind of in your professional tennis journey, does kind of your faith play into that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's something that I was fortunate enough to grow up in a Christian household. So yeah, it's easy to say, oh, I believe in God and all this stuff, but there's a difference between saying it and being it. You know what I mean? I think that's the biggest thing. And there was times in my life where I had doubts. I think all of us kind of go through that period. I had doubts. I wasn't really, as my relationship with God was not as good as it should have been. And I think through a lot of the struggle that I went through, I really had some dark days where honestly, like I hated myself. Like there was days I was so depressed, I didn't want to leave home. I wasn't, connecting with my friends. I was feeling bad about like literally everything. It was awful. And then one day I was like, you know what? What am I doing? Like, what is the point of all of this? And I started listening to my favorite Bible podcast and my favorite pastor, Rick Warren. I don't know if you know who he is, but I was listening to him, his Daily Hope every day. And I was like, I'm just going to start listening just once a day. And then slowly I kind of felt like a shift. And I have got like a sports psychologist, mental coach guy who's also very Christian, and he sort of helped me through that. He was like praying for me and praying over me and trying to just get me out of this rut of things that were just hanging on me for so long, even beyond the tennis and injuries. Just like I've been through a lot that a lot of people don't know. So yeah, I was just holding on to that. And I think over time, I started to kind of forgive myself, and I stopped believing in the lies that I believed in myself. That's something I like to think about. I was believing lies about myself and thinking I was never going to be good enough, and that I wasn't worthy of anything, all this stuff. And the only thing I can give credit to is God and the Bible and the word of Jesus, because nothing would have convinced me otherwise. So now I think it's my duty, not just as a Christian, but also as an athlete in the public space, that's my role, is to be able to spread the word in that way. That's my way of giving back and being a Christian. So yeah, I mean, there's people who have already sent me weird messages, like kind of hating on me for it, which is crazy, actually. Christians are the most prosecuted people in the world. And yeah, I'm not going to back down. I'm totally open about it. And I like talking about it, and it's part of my journey. So
good for you. We love to hear that.
Did it play into you? And I know before the podcast, I was joking around. I was hating on you for going to Texas A&M, but I do know they have a big Christian community there. I used to work at Camp Ozark. A ton of A&M kids will work there.
Yeah, I know Camp Ozark.
Yeah. Was it at A&M, like, did that have a lot to do with your decision? Because it's
absolutely
very like Christian. Yeah,
absolutely, it did. There's really you hear about, of course, you hear a school like Texas A&M. Texas A&M is Texas to me. It's huge,
right?
Sports. It's super Texas people, cowboy hats, whatever. It's a whole thing. Which, even though I'm not super country, I'm Christian, so we can always get along with one thing.
Right.
And there was like a
LA Cowboy.
Yeah, I guess so. But there's a thing like, every Tuesday there's a big worship group out on Kyle Field. And so there would be like 10,000 students every Tuesday coming out and singing and doing this whole thing. A lot of the athletes would go and everything, and like, yeah, stuff like that is just not normal. You don't see that at a whole lot of schools at all when you see that many kids united in one faith, and actually dedicated to it too, which was really impressive. And kind of just being around that was really refreshing. And, a majority of the students there, even though it's 70,000 students or however heck many they have, it's such a huge school.
Right.
It was just really nice kids. Like, it was really good people from good households. And it wasn't about them being, aspiring to be some rich, whatever, kind of like you get at these like fancy Stanfords and stuff, but
Right.
like the genuine souls of all the students at Texas A&M made it so special. That's what makes Texas A&M Texas A&M. Yeah, and that of course was a huge role, and that was, yeah. I mean, you were correct. That is the reason why I wanted to go to Texas A&M.
Yeah,
especially coming.
Stephen,
I don't want to put anyone else down, but especially when you come from a school like UVA, where people would put me down openly about believing in God, which is crazy. Yeah, I was so happy to be in that environment after seeing the other side.
Very cool.
Hey, Stephen, can you hear this rain that's going on right now?
No. Is it
okay?
You guys can put it in Tennessee now?
It's pouring, and the warehouse is like a tin can, so usually you can hear it. I just want to make sure it wasn't messing up the.
No, we're good. No, Carson, that's very cool to hear that background. I heard you talk on another show about how much you were thankful to be at Texas A&M, and I wondered, the backstory there. So that's very cool to hear. I know we're running out of time with you and with all of our schedules. You're staying up late for this interview, so we super appreciate that. We got a few quick fire fun questions to end with, just kind of like the quick volleys at the net. Just one answer is all that's needed.
All right.
One word answers. Okay, so getting to know Carson Branstine. Grass or clay? I feel like that's an easy one.
Branstine. Quick answer.
Sorry. Quick answer. That's a great correction. Need that. Because I've been Carson, I've been saying that for like the last 6 months.
Yeah, it's okay.
I know. And then we looked it up on the WTA website, and I was like, oh my gosh. All right. Getting to know Carson Branstine. Grass or clay?
I'm actually going to say clay, just because there's more consistency with the surface. Besides Wimbledon and like a few tournaments, it's really tough to find a good grass court. Like, Wimbledon is obviously Wimbledon. It's not, yeah. But for day-to-day, clay for sure.
Okay. Federer, Nadal, or Djokovic?
Djokovic.
Forehand or backhand?
Forehand.
Out wide or tee serve?
Tee serve. So satisfying to hit a tee serve ace.
Let's go. Would you rather lose in straight sets or lose in a third set tiebreaker?
Ugh. What round?
Wimbledon final.
Tiebreak, for sure. I gotta give the crowd something. You gotta make them. Yeah.
Fair enough. And in a first round, would you rather win in straights or win in a third set tiebreaker?
Win in straights, for sure.
Yeah, easy questions. Good. Okay. Well, that's a little bit more. Oh, I guess the last one we had there that I asked Alexi Gallarno, Drake or Kendrick?
Drake. Canadian.
Let's go.
New album coming out.
Also, side note, I don't know if you're going to put this in, but whoever thinks Kendrick is better than Drake actually blows my mind. Like, Kendrick, yeah, he has good songs, but every song that Drake has is catchy. Kendrick's voice gets so annoying sometimes. I can't take it after like a song and a half. I'm over it. Drake, you put
it's like Taylor Swift. People hate him
a little bit, I don't even know what
100%.
He's got a very specific like crowd that I feel like is a very specific sound of music that if you're not about, you're not about. And Drake, he's for the people, for everyone.
I agree. And also, if I'm being completely honest, I don't even know what their drama is fully about. I can care less.
Me
I
neither.
don't
know anything.
It's probably fake, first of all, and second of all, they're just bored. So
This might hurt Kendrick because he's a Cali guy. So But I guess you technically represent Canada.
That's true.
So really, you win either way. Real quick, your answer Djokovic for the GOAT, is it play style? Is it mindset? How come Djokovic over the others?
I think he's the GOAT for pretty much every reason, if I'm being completely honest. Like, yeah, okay.
I
Like,
agree.
I have to say, I would say, like, a close second GOAT or, like, close equal GOAT would be Fed, just because I think in terms of aura, I think Federer, like, wins with aura points. Like, everyone knows Federer on the whole face of the planet. There's just something about him that just, like, stands out, like, just the way he carries himself. I'm like, okay, that's cool. The one-handed backhand. His game's, like, so photogenic. I'm like, Federer, like, that's tennis to me. You think about tennis, you think Roger Federer. But when it comes to actually, like, being a player and a competitor and everything else, like, I don't think Djokovic is even, I don't think there's anyone nearly comparable.
All right, I'm super triggered by that, but we'll leave that as there. And JP's a huge Djokovic fan, huge Federer fan, but I appreciate the kind words, and everyone's entitled to their opinion. Carson Branstine, thanks so much for coming on Slice. I call myself there. We're getting better. It's all about improvement. We can't wait to our next conversation, and we will be cheering you on big time through the hard court swing back in North America.
Yep, you've got now once you come on the Slice, I let the people know you don't got to worry about fighting any Twitter battles out there, because now you've come on the show. I got you. I got my sword ready on Twitter, and I'm gonna take down whoever we need to take down. So you just let me know.
We're in it together. Starting an army.
Let's go. In the trenches. All right, Carson, have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you soon.
Sounds good. See you guys.